What is good, everyone? Today we're talking about console Titanfall 2 after the weapon balance update that went live about a week or so ago. I'll share with you my personal experience so far, comparing my thoughts pre-patch to post-patch and going through a lot of the weapons that received some buffs. Do note, however, my perspective will be primarily based around the Xbox One, as I don't have the PC version and I don't have time with it. I do somewhat follow the PC player sentiments, but do note there's a big difference between the way the game plays on console versus PC. So spoiler alert, I am loving the gameplay after the patch so far. Let's review what got buffed and what got nerfed. So the Flatline, R97, Spitfire, L-Star Double Take, EPG, and Thunderbolt all received buffs. The Volt got a pretty significant nerf, as did the Pilot Sentry. Yes! Now before we move into the more specifics on the weapons, two things. First, for detailed breakdowns of all the new damage values of the weapons, be sure to check out Frothy Omen's YouTube channel. He makes fantastic and very in-depth videos about Titanfall 2 and is well worth a sub from anybody who likes this game. He gives insights from the competitive scene as well. The second thing to note is the context of this patch on console, right? The main complaints from console players previously were that the popularity and the strength of the Hemlock Devotion and the Pilot Sentry were just ridiculous. It seemed as if during the weeks after Christmas, weapon diversity slowly turned into entire lobbies of just Hemlock Devotion users. Respawn opted to buff other weapons to help create diversity and effective alternative choices or options to those weapons, so without having to nerf the Hemlock or the Devotion into the ground. We still have a few weeks before the real winners of this patch will rise up, but so far I really like the adjustments they've made. Alright, so let's touch on the Volt. Received a pretty significant nerf, now doing 23 damage up close. It used to do 35. This gun was banned on PC competitive play. The PC community was really frustrated with this gun. They felt it was far too good. After the nerf, however, the PC community is wondering, wow, is this thing even going to be used anymore? Because there's far better options in this category of weapon. On console, it really was never that popular, and it certainly won't be popular now. So this change is mainly more for the PC side of things. If you're a definite Volt player who's bummed out about this on the console side of things, sound off in the comments. I'd like to know your opinion. Not a weapon I use a whole lot of. The Flatline. This is the new popular gun on consoles. It's going to receive a lot of the spotlight and attention. So its damage value was buffed, but it's only at longer ranges that you see that damage buff. It deals 35 damage up close. It used to deal 15 at range, but now it deals 21 at range. So essentially, this gun is going to be more effective at those mid and longer sight lines to give you a better chance of competing with the amount of Hemlocks and Devotions. Now, after playing a while post-patch, I can definitely say people are still using Hemlocks and Devotions pretty commonly. However, there is a lot more Flatline use, and I see definitely the R97 coming out, the car, and the alternator. So it seems like there's a bit more diversity right now in the sandbox than there was right before this patch. Flatline is a fantastic gun if you guys are looking for a great weapon to just sort of carry you through your first generation. The Flatline is awesome. The R97 got a massive, massive buff, and it leaves a lot of the PC community, I think, wondering, why did this gun get such a significant buff? On console, it never really was like that popular, but now I think you're going to see more people using this and perhaps a little bit less of the alternator. We saw a buff for the Spitfire and the L-Star. Now, the L-Star I want to focus on for a second because previously on console, before the patch, this thing was awful. Nobody was really using it, and this is a moderate buff to the weapon's damage to where players actually will probably want to try this out on console. It gives a more unique playstyle, a more creative option for somebody to just, I don't know, try out something different and fun. It's probably not going to be your top-tier weapon, but to give it a little bit more life on console is something I'm really appreciative that Respawn looked into. The Double Take got a buff. I will probably never ever use this weapon, and I can't speak much to it. If you're a Double Take player, sound off again in the comments. Now, the EPG, some people are saying it's better, but it's kind of hard to quantify with that type of weapon. But the Thunderbolt, right, which is that gigantic-looking anti-Titan weapon, deals more damage to pilots now, and it deals quite a bit more damage to Titans as well. However, there's better options in the anti-Titan category. If you're dealing with a really tightly grouped knit of 3 or 4 Titans, then the splash damage you get from the Thunderbolt might be useful, but for the most part, this will not be causing me to change away from my charge rifle. Now, Titan balance was not adjusted this time around. We're going to touch on that in a second, but the Pilot Sentry nerf is my favorite part about this entire thing. The Pilot Sentry now has significantly less health. It moves left and right a little bit slower, and I think it takes just a little bit longer for it to lock onto players. Long story short, it is much more manageable. It is not that egregious offender that it once was, and I'm really, really happy with where it's at. Now again, it's going to take a few weeks before things settle down and we get into a rhythm with the sandbox, but overall, I'm enjoying this patch quite a bit so far. I will say this, I'm quite surprised that they didn't adjust any Titan balance in this balance pass. Perhaps they were just preparing all of this for the live fire update, the trailer for which just went live. But for me personally, I'm kind of ready to see some changes in the Titan pool, right? We're still seeing Tone being awesome, McAwesome sauce, and I don't know, it would be cool if they brought maybe some buffs to the other Titans to make it a little bit more diverse, just like this. So thanks for watching, everybody. I'd love to know what you think of this patch. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know with a like, and we'll see you next time.